Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salam Media. This is Fazlin Franceman Talib on your morning show News and Views. It is just 8:54 and we're talking Boorhaanol Islam Movement, and they will be launching a new Hajj and Umrah guide. Now obviously we know it is Hajj season. A lot of our local Hujjaj will be making the pilgrimage. To join us or joining us this morning to unpack what the Hajj and Umrah guide is about, why it was important, we have the Deputy Chairperson of Boorhaanol Islam Movement, Brother Mohammad Groenewald. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mohammad. How are you?
Walaikum wa barakatuh, and good morning to your listeners, and hope everyone is well. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Muhammad, why was it important? I think let's start there for firstly the development of this particular guide.
Now, look, Boorhaanol Islam has been over the years developing resources, Islamic resources, and also in the forefront of developing, guides, including our traditional things like the Ratibul Haddad and many other forms of zikr that we do in the Cape, where the objective is not only to kind of bring out booklets and bring out new things, but also to preserve the rich tradition and legacy of Islam, especially Islam in the Cape, where we have a number of traditions, you know. And part of this projects, or many of the projects that we have done, the purpose and the objective is always first to educate our people about whatever we come up with. In this instance, was Hajj, and and then secondly was also to kind of write up the story of Hajj, and preserve that story of Hajj, and especially with the rituals and the traditions of the Cape that is very deeply steeped and rooted within our community.
Mhm. So I want to touch on that. So essentially, what sets this guide apart, if I'm hearing correctly, is obviously it looks at what is required when you actually make the pilgrimage, but it also brings into it the traditions that are specifically relevant to the South African, and perhaps even if you zoom in even more, the Cape Muslim sort of reality and identity in terms of its traditions.
Yeah, firstly, I think very importantly, the book kind of starts off, with the history of Hajj. Very few people know what is actually the history of Hajj. And one wonder often, why Hajj is such an emotional, experience in Cape Town. People leaving for Hajj, it's greeting, it's all of that. But I think often, when we reflect on the history of Hajj, we can understand why it is what it is, especially in the Cape. I mean, in other parts of South Africa, you don't even know your neighbor went for Hajj. So, in
Mm.
Cape Town, that's impossible to do. Um, and if you look at Hajj, the first ever person to go on Hajj in the Cape was in 1833, Imam Hassanuddin. He was also known as Karel Pilgrim, and he left for Hajj, first spent 3 years in Mecca and also do his Islamic studies. But on his return, in 1835, in fact, there's a small piece, I think, in the Cape Times or the Argus that he writes about. He's now back into Cape Town and he returned on, the 10th of December, 1835. And that basically tells us a story about Hajj. Muslims arrived at the Cape, or Sheikh Yusuf, we look at our history from the arrival of Sheikh Yusuf in 1894. Now, if you compare from this, it took Muslims, approximately, almost 191 years, or
Mm.
I think 139 years before the very first Muslim can go on Hajj. What does that tell you? That Muslims, because when Muslims arrived here, Islam was suppressed. They couldn't, practice their deen openly, etc., and so on. And so 139 years later, after the first Muslim arrived, Sheikh Yusuf, only the first Muslim went on Hajj. And this, of course, also tells you why Hajj is such an emotional journey, in Cape Town. In fact, if one look at it today, the Hajj that leaves today or for this Hajj season will be 191 years after
Mm,
Karl Vaughan, the first kind of person to go on
mm,
Hajj. You can see, you could do, even if you're a Muslim in a country where they don't allow you to practice your deen, you can make your salah. No one knows that. You can pay zakah. You can do all your rituals. You can fast. You don't know whether I'm fasting or whether I'm not. But Hajj was the one journey that they could never do. And this is where
mm,
also the book that also talks about the visiting of the Karams. Now, Muslims went to Sheikh Yusuf's tomb during Easter as a kind of pilgrimage, sit, relax, and so on. But even prior to Imam Hasnuddin went on his first journey on Hajj. And it is very important to kind of contextualize, the Hajj firstly, and this is what the book does, and this is part of the uniqueness of the book. Before it actually goes to the monastic and the rituals of the Hajj, it sort of brings out that kind of element of the history because it's very important to make other Hujjaj, and that is why with Cape Townians, part of the book also is go visiting the Karamats, which is
mm,
of course, we know we don't believe in Karamats and stuff like that. But what we do is we pay homage to them because if it was not for them, you know, um, we in this country would have probably have Muslims only coming now for the last 50 years or 30 years like other countries. Um,
mm,
Immigrants, and yet our forefathers went through such a challenging time. Most countries would have given up. Most Muslims probably would have given up Islam. Rather
mm,
accept Christianity, will have a better life, and so on. And on that premise, we go visit our Qurans, we go visit, our forefathers to show a sense of gratitude. As Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say, Man la yashkurillah la yashkurinnas. If you don't have gratitude to Allah, you won't have gratitude to mankind. Of course, it's a very various variations of this hadith. But so the booklet sort of brings that out, and it's for the first time that in one booklet that talks about Hajj, we bring all the dynamics of Hajj together, not only the manasik, what to recite here, what dua to make there, etc.,
mm,
but what we bring far more comprehensive booklet. Small booklet, that you can put in your pocket, but at the same time, it brings up various dynamics of Hajj.
mm. So I want to touch on something that you said, and I think the value of this particular booklet is quite significant, especially within the context of the fact that a lot of the traditions that kind of signify the Cape Muslim identity is starting to die out with newer generations. Why do you think this particular book, within that context, is therefore so important? Um, and I say that within the context of more of a remembrance and celebrating history rather than necessarily saying, and I think you explained it quite beautifully, to say that this gives context of the history of the Muslim, the Cape Muslim, from its inception in South Africa. Why do you think therefore it's so important for those aspects to be included in the book?
Yeah, first, as I said, part of Boorhaanol's duty and responsibility, especially remember Boorhaanol, where is it located? Boorhaanol is located in Boorkamp. Boorkamp is often referred to the cradle of Islam,
Mm,
and it was, so part of our responsibility is not only, we to kind of develop certain things, whether it's a mosque that we regularly do, whether it is the Ratibul Haddad, whether it's other booklets that we have published over the years. But the idea is really to preserve, the culture, and also to ensure that it continues. We know culture shifts, change sometimes, and so on. But it's very important for the Cape Muslim community because remember, the Cape Muslim community have developed a very unique culture. Even Muslims that come here from various parts of the world, they are often amazed with what is on display in terms of our Islamic identity and heritage and so on. And so you kind of, in a way, try to bring, say, look, we need to preserve, even if things change and so on. And so, say for 100 years from now, if people want to know, how did people make the Ratib al-Attas? How did people make the various other things and so on? How did people make, like, what we often refer as the pujis or the adhkar during Ramadan, at particular time in Cape Town? Then it's there. It's preserved both in sound, it's preserved in a booklet, etc., and so on. And in that way, part of our project is the preservation of the Cape Muslim tradition, were recited and so on. And of course, what we also bring into our books is, for example, the proper recitation of these non-pujis that we do, or dhikrs that we do during Taraweeh, during the various stages of the Taraweeh Salah. These are all things that needs to be explained. Where does it come from, firstly? How it what does it mean? And that is a very important aspect. Because similarly, when you teach to children the Salah, one of the big things is that, we often just go parrot fashion Salah. So say that, Subhan Rabbi A'la, Subhan Rabbi Azim, and so on. Which, yes, we all taught Salah in that particular way. But if one adds the meaning to that, and you make Salah with meaning, then you're going to make Salah with greater purpose, because now you understand. And only once one understands, one creates value for a particular act of worship that we do. Just a very quick, one day in a class, I had to explain Salah. You're starting with Salah, grade 7 class, and I asked him, who watched soccer? All the hands went up. Who watched rugby, cricket? Who watched golf? No one's hand went up. I said, why? It's not a nice, it's boring. I said, but do you understand it? Who can tell me how the game works? No one. I said, no. Let's bring us to our topic today, the Salah. Because if you don't understand it, you shrug it away. You just do it because it needs to be done. And this is what we want in the work that we produce. And therefore, in the way the book is laid out, in terms of the various aspects of the book, even when to do the azkar of the multiple haddad, it's done in a very meticulous, in a way that is easy to read, easy to understand. Even the English, the translations are very carefully looked at and developed.
Just finally, Brother Mohammad, in terms of when the book will be launched and where it will be available, if you can inform our listeners and viewers. Yeah, continue. No, continue, brother.
Yeah, look, we as we said that the book covers all the aspects of Hajj and so on, and also the manasik and so on. And what also makes the book very unique, Fazlan, sorry, what also makes the book very unique is the fact that it has a QR code. Sheikh Ismail Lont recites the various du'as, recites the various adhkar. As I said, one of our objectives is to recite it correctly with the proper makharij or the proper pronunciation, etc. So the book has a QR code. So you just go with your phone, you scan the QR code, and then that particular dua comes on. So you can put it in your car, you can listen it as you drive, whilst you're learning it with the meaning, etc., and so on. So I think in that way is unique, alhamdulillah. So the book will be launched, inshallah, next Sunday, and it will be on the 12th at the Boorhaanol Center at Boorhaanol Center in Penn Street in Boorka. And then people can just go onto our website as well. All the information is there. And of course, we've invited quite a number of guests and so on. The book will be available via our website. It will be, you can also phone our office to come and collect it, and then soon it will be spread throughout Cape Town. What was also nice about this book, Cape Town have a Slava system. We traditionally we put something in an envelope for the Haji when he leaves, when you go visit him, and then this will also be a nice gift, a companion to give to the Haji, the Slava, and therefore we encourage people to buy the book and to ensure, they give it as part of their Slava to the Haji, inshallah.
Shukran so much. That was Brother Mohammad Groenewald from the Boorhaanol Islam Movement, and they were talking, or he was talking about the launch of their new book, which is focused on the Hajj and Umrah. It serves as a guide. The launch will be taking place on Sunday, the 12th of May, and more details can be found on their website, which is boorhaanol.org.za.